All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er recap. As the Niners go to Tampa, they get a 23-20 win, and they get back-to-back wins for the first time all year. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Also brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World, a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Mancini's offers a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. I love my Mancini's bed. It's fantastic. Click the link below and go to sleepworld.com and find a bed that works for you, whether shopping online or visiting in store. Use the code KRUG10 and you'll get 10% off. Again, that is KRUG10, KRUEG 10, and you'll get 10% off in any Mancini store or online at sleepworld.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Niners and the Bucs. So Niners get the win, 23-20. What a game. What an incredible game it was. Exciting game, frustrating game, emotional game, frustrating game, just so many different attributes. Niners got the ball first. Let's recap it, and we'll go through it a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the themes. But Niners got the ball first, and they moved the ball down the field, and they got to 2nd and 7 at the 39, and Purdy threw too high for Jennings, and he didn't see Pearsall was wide open. So that led to a 3rd and 7 play, and then Purdy went to Pearsall, and he overthrew Pearsall. So the Niners had to punt after the first series, and Purdy did not look particularly sharp on that first series. Tampa got it. They on a 3rd and 1, Mayfield found Cade Otton for a completion, and they got 1 first down. And then on 3rd and 6 from their own 30, Mayfield went to Rachaad White on 3rd down, and Fred Warner made a great stop and forced a punt. So the Niners would get it back. And in their second possession, Purdy was sacked on the very first play by Gaines. It was kind of a coverage sack, but Gaines beat Jake Brendel and sacked Brock Purdy. So the Niners were already in a hole, but they did make a conversion on that 3rd down on the second drive. Purdy went to Pearsall, and it was incomplete, but there was a penalty against Tampa, Hayes, for holding against Jennings. And so the Niners got their first down. Then on 2nd and 5 on that drive, Purdy threw a pass to CMC. He broke a tackle. Nice big 10-yard play. On 2nd and 5 from the 46, Purdy dropped back to pass and found Pearsall on a shallow crosser. And then Pearsall outran Antoine Winfield Jr. to the pylon for the touchdown. They went to confirm it via video replay, and they did. So touchdown 49ers, 6 plays, 71-yard drive, 7-0 Niners for Ricky Pearsall, his first NFL touchdown. Great moment there. So the Niners had a 7-0 lead early, and the defense was flying early for the 49ers. Mayfield went to Bucky Irving on the first play of the next drive, and Campbell missed the tackle. He went for 12 yards. But ultimately, on 3rd and 5 from the 47, Mayfield was sacked by Leonard Floyd and a gang of 49ers, and so Tampa was forced to punt on their second possession. Niners on their third possession would start slowly because there was a false start penalty on Eric Saubert on the first play. But then on 3rd and 7, Purdy found Kittle, who double caught the ball. It was a 13-yard grab to keep the chains moving. On 3rd and 9 from the 47, Purdy found Jennings on an out route for a first down. On 3rd and 3 from the 29, Purdy found Jennings again, who took a big hit from McCollum and held on. And then the Niners, though, get down to 2nd and 8 from the 10. Purdy went to Pearsall. There was no room there, so it was incomplete. Then Purdy on 3rd and 8 threw incomplete to Kittle. So on came Jake Moody. He kicked a 28-yard field goal to cap the 14-play drive. And the Niners are cooking. They're up 10-0. Things were looking good. They're in the second quarter, up 10-0. Then Tampa put together a long drive. And Mayfield, found, Williams on a play. Irving had a nice run. Cade Otton was involved in a couple plays. Niners actually had some good defensive plays on this drive. Mustafa had a big hit on Irving. Campbell had a big hit on Irving. Sam Aquinu had a big hit on Otton. Malik Collins stuffed Bucky Irving on 2nd and 8. There were a lot of good plays. Renardo Green did a nice job against Bucky Irving on 2nd and 1. But they would move the ball down the field, and Mayfield went to Irving against Campbell on 3rd and 5, and Campbell made a tremendous solo tackle, and it was a negative. It was a tackle for a loss. It was -3 yards on the play. So Chase McLaughlin came on and kicked the 30-yard field goal to cap a 13-play drive, and it was 10-3 49ers. But the one thing that was a little disturbing was that Baker Mayfield started 11 for 12 for 65 yards, and he was going to Cade Otton, and the Niners seemed to be surprised by it, despite the fact Cade Otton's been his number 1 receiver for like the last month. So that was a little curious. Niners on their 4th possession, Purdy went to Jennings on the very first play for 30 yards. Jennings had a huge day. But then Purdy started making some bad throws, and on 2nd and 10 from the 38, Purdy went to Jennings, but it was a poor throw. It fell incomplete. Then on 3rd and 10, Purdy went to Pearsall for 8. So it got to 4th and 3 from the 31. And this was a play where I really thought Shanahan would go for it. The Niners were already up 10-3. This is not a good Tampa team without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, as beat up as they are, short week, the whole deal. Instead, Kyle went for the field goal, and he brought on Jake Moody for a 49-yard field goal, and he missed it. He missed it left. So they gave the ball back to Tampa with 25 seconds left. Tampa had 3 timeouts. This is late second quarter. Mayfield went to Cade Otton, and he was wide open. Then on 2nd and 10, Mayfield went to Jarrett, and it was ruled incomplete. They called it a catch, and then the Niners challenged, and they said it wasn't a catch. So then it got to 2nd and 10 from the 39-yard line, and Sam Aquinu jumps off sides to keep the drive alive, but Mayfield went through to Otton on 3rd and 5, and he dropped it. So they were forced to punt it back to the Niners at the very end of the first half. Niners got it in their 5th possession with about 10 seconds left, and they just kneeled on it. So 49ers led 10-3 at halftime. Purdy was 10 of 16 for 153 yards and a touchdown in the first half. CMC was only averaging 3 yards a carry, but he had 7 carries for 21 yards. Niners ran 13 times and threw it 16 times in the first half. 3 catches for Jennings and for 59 yards. Pearsall had the first touchdown of his career. Malik Collins had a sack. The 49ers, Jake Moody, 1 of 2 on field goals. 49ers in the first half were 200 total yards to 101 for Tampa. They outpassed them 148-64. They outrushed them 52-37. So 49ers had the lead at the break, and it was 10-3. Tampa was getting the ball to begin the third quarter. But the Niners came out with tons of energy in the third quarter on defense, and they got the Bucs to go 3 and out. They stuffed Rachaad White on first down. Floyd tipped Mayfield's pass on second down, and then Mayfield went to Cade Otton against Jair Brown on 3rd and 4, and it was incomplete. So they get to 4th and 4 from their own 36, and they decide they're going to punt it. And what happened was Darrell Luter got blocked right into Jacob Cowing, and the ball ricocheted off of Cowing and right to Tampa. Gigantic special teams gaffe. And the Bucs had a first down at the Niner 21-yard line. And a couple plays later, Mayfield throws a screen pass to Rachaad White for 10 yards. And just like that, a game that the 49ers had kind of been dominating, it was 10-10. 4 plays, 21-yard drive, 10-10, a minute 57 left in the third quarter in a 10-10 game. So the Niners get it back on their own 30. And CMC had a fantastic run up the middle for 13 yards on the first play. Great block by Aaron Banks. Then Purdy found Debo for another first down. Purdy ran, and there was a penalty against Tampa for illegal contact. And then, the drive continued on 3rd and 5. Purdy went to Debo Samuel. The Tampa brought the blitz, and he found Debo for an 11-yard gain down to the 21. And then on 3rd and 5 from the 16, Purdy found CMC to bring it down to the 9-yard line. So the Niners had a 1st and goal situation. Interestingly enough, right then and there, they took CMC out of the game, and they brought in Garendo. He got stuffed on 1st and goal from the 9. Then Purdy took a sack on 2nd and goal from the 9. He never saw Tryon Shoyinka. So 3rd and goal from the 19, Purdy went to Debo for 5. And the Niners, who, had a great situation, 1st and goal at the 9, had to kick a 33-yard Jake Moody field goal to go up 13-10. 13-play drive, 55 yards, 7 minutes and 37 seconds, 13-10 49ers. So the Niners had the lead, but it was hardly significant. And then the Bucs at the end of the third quarter took the drive, their 7th possession, and they moved it down the field. And Bucky Irving on a halfback toss would score a touchdown to cap a 10-play, 70-yard drive, 17-13 Tampa at that point. So now the pressure's on. Now you're in the fourth quarter. You're down 4 on the road. Purdy on the next play on the Niners' 7th possession found Kittle on a screen that went for 34 yards. The Niners faked the toss and threw it to Kittle in the flat, and he got loose and rumbled for 34 yards. So the second play was 1st and 10 on the Buccaneers' 37-yard line. So that Kittle play was huge. But the Niners stalled out on Purdy on 1st and 10 from the 37. He went to Debo, but the ball was too low. Not good ball placement by Brock. On 2nd and 10 from the 27, CMC ran for 1 yard. On 3rd and 9 from the 26, Purdy found Jennings, but it only went for 3 yards. So it got to 4th and 6, and Kyle decides he's going to, from the 23, he decides he's going to kick the field goal, brings on Jake Moody to try from 50 yards out. And he missed. He missed left. Second miss of the day for Moody. So Tampa would get the ball back for their 8th possession, and they couldn't do anything with it. The Niner defense held. Jordan Elliott made a nice play on Rashad White on the first down run. Mayfield threw to Jarrett, but Lenore and Green were all over Jarrett on 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12. And then 3rd and 6, Mayfield threw to Shepard against Lenore. Lenore had good. Shepard was actually open, but the throw was bad and it was incomplete. And so Tampa goes 3 and out, and the Niners get the ball back, and they're down 17-13. But they got the ball back, and they did stop Tampa. So the Niners on their next possession, their 8th possession, Purdy went to Jennings on 2nd and 10 from the 36 for 10 yards for a first down. That was huge. And then on a 2nd and 10 play from the Buccaneers 23, Purdy threw it away, but Kalijah Cansey hit Purdy out of bounds, and it set the Niners up for the 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Huge penalty in the game, because Purdy on 2nd and 10 found Kittle for just the prettiest pass in the corner of the end zone. Kittle caught it. There was only a tiny little patch of grass there before the sideline. He got both feet in. 6 plays, 64-yard drive, Niners up 20-17. So you're feeling okay. They got a lead, but still nothing safe. The defense was playing great, though, and Nick Bosa had a big sack on the next series on 3rd and 13 to force a punt. So the Niners had the ball in the fourth quarter inside of like 5 minutes, and they're up 3. And you're thinking, okay, they're set, they're good, they're gonna put this thing away. Purdy on 1st and 10 on their 9th possession went to Debo. And he made a huge play. The next play was down at the 29-yard line of the Buccaneers. And then Purdy on 2nd and 7 from the 26, he fumbled, but Jawan Jennings would fall on the football, and Tampa did not get an opportunity to get it there. So it went to 3rd and 7. Purdy threw incomplete on 3rd and 7. And on 4th and 7 from the 26, Shanahan brought in Jake Moody, and he's trying a 44-yard field goal, and he pushes it right. And now he's missed 3 field goals. And now the pressure is starting to ramp up. Shanahan is expressing frustration on the sideline. Debo got in the face of the kicker and said, hey, whatever he said. Tabor Pepper didn't like that. He started, barking at Debo. Debo then put his hands around Tabor's neck. They were MFing each other on the sideline. It was pretty ugly. It really was ugly. And you're thinking at this point, this season is going down the tubes. And this season is over. Not only did the Niners miss the kick, their 3rd of the day, but now you got guys fighting, and you've got the Buccaneers taking over at their own 30, and they moved the ball down the field. They absolutely did. On 3rd and 7, Mayfield hit Shepard, or threw to Shepard incomplete against Yadam. And then on 4th and 7, Mayfield, converted for a first down, and the Bucs stayed on the field. So then the Niners all of a sudden started coming apart at the seams defensively. On 3rd and 7, Mayfield threw incomplete. The Niners had blitzed, but the penalty was on Fred Warner for a face mask. So now it's 1st and 10 Bucks at the Niner 32. Mayfield throws, and Malik Collins gets a penalty for roughing the passer. I thought it was a total bogus call. Now it's 1st and 10 at the 14. Rashad White gets tackled by Bosa. Penalty on Evan Anderson for illegal hands to the face. Now it's 1st and goal from the 9, and Rashad White runs down to the 5-yard line on 1st down. And here's where this game pivots. It's 2nd and goal from the 5. It looks, I mean, we're inside the 2-minute warning. It looks like the Bucs are gonna win this game. You know, they're inside the 5-yard line. They're moving the ball. They got enough time. And Evan Anderson stepped up with a tackle for a loss against Rashad White on 2nd and goal from the 5. And it made him go to 3rd and goal, and Mayfield threw incomplete to Jarrett. And so McLaughlin comes on for a 26-yard field goal, and he hit it to make it 20-20. So 11-play, 58-yard drive. There's only 41 seconds left in the game. Debo was deep as the returner. Tampa gave up 5 yards on an illegal formation. So the Niners got 5 extra yards on the return. So they had 1st and 10 at the 35. Purdy threw to Jennings for 6 yards on 1st down. Then Purdy went to Pearsall on 2nd and 4 for a first. And then Purdy went to Pearsall. It was incomplete. The Niners called a timeout. There's 22 seconds left. 1st and 10 from the 39. Purdy went to Jennings for a 1st down. And then they brought on Jake Moody at 2nd and 10 to kick a 44-yard field goal after he had missed 3. And sure enough, he made it. 23-20, 49ers. They get the win over the Buccaneers, and it was a much-needed win. Niners go to 5-4. Niners now have a 66% chance of making the playoffs. If they had lost the game, they would have had a 33% chance of making the playoffs. A couple things that stood out in the game. One, man, I was really surprised. Christian McCaffrey had 13 rushes and 6 receptions. He had 19 touches. Guerrero had 1. Mason had 1. I really thought there was a chance that it would be a blend of McCaffrey, Mason, and Guerrero, and it was all McCaffrey. So that was a surprise. I thought Brock Purdy was really bad in the first half. I thought he struggled. I didn't like the trajectory on his ball. He was holding the ball a little too long. I didn't think he was playing quite on time. The ball seemed like it was coming out a little bit late. He just wasn't looking good. And then in the second half of this game, he completed 75% of his passes and just took it over. So huge game in the second half for Brock. Juwan Jennings had the fumble recovery. That was the biggest play of the game, but he also had 7 catches for 93 yards on 11 targets. He was huge. Ricky Pearsall continues to get better. 4 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown for Ricky. He was really, really good. I thought Tampa bailed the Niners out by running Rashad White at the end of that game instead of Bucky Irving. Irving went for 13 carries for 73 yards, 5.6 a carry. Rashad White was 3.1 a carry. And the Niners, I mean, didn't have Irving's way more difficult to tackle and is way more difficult to corral. And I thought the Tampa coaches bailed out the 49ers by going to White instead of Irving at the end of this game. I also felt like the 49ers should have known that the Buccaneers were going to Cade Otton in all the key situations passing-wise in the first half. I mean, he caught 5 balls for 35 yards in the first half, and the Niners looked like they were surprised that they were going to Cade Otton when he was their number one guy. Big day for Fred Warner. He had 9 tackles, 6 solo. Devondre Campbell had some mistakes in this game, but he also brought a lot of energy. He had 7 tackles, 4 solo. He had a TFL. Bosa had a sack. He did the Trump dance. And Bosa also had a ball where, he probably should have punched it out against Baker Mayfield, and Mayfield completed an amazing pass while he was stiff-arming Bosa. But I thought overall the 49ers, did it just enough to win in this game. The special teams gaffe is just unacceptable. I mean, that's just simple as that. I mean, the special teams gaffe was huge. It's just they had a muffed punt by Cowing. And, it's just, you just can't have that. You can't have a muffed punt. You missed 3 field goals and you had a muffed punt. So, and you somehow still won. Niners should have won this one big. Instead, they win by 3. A win's a win, but they're going to have to play a whole lot better than that if they're going to beat Green Bay, Buffalo, and Detroit, 3 of the teams that sit ahead on their schedule. But good win for the 49ers overall. The young DBs stepped up. Lenore, Mustafa, Renardo Green, they really all stepped up with good performances. Wasn't a stellar performance from Bosa, but he made a couple big plays when he needed to. Definitely Juwan Jennings is the guy who's going to step up without Ayuk. And it was good to see Ricky Pearsall get better and better and better. I was a little surprised that we didn't get more of Garendo and Mason, and I think it's important that we see those guys more going forward. But overall, Niners get the win. 5-4, much needed win. Bring on Seattle next week, and I'm sure that plane flight back from Tampa, they're feeling a whole lot better with the W than they would have if they had lost this one. 23-20. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles and Mancini's for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krueger Show on YouTube,